Man, we moving top shares like Silverleaf and shit. Man, we full of that AI over here, man. Kind of like this.
What is going on in your opinion?
What's taking place right now is revenge for the Rodney King trial, the verdicts. Everybody doing what they got to do to get justice out there.
The police!
I think that somebody should come out and do a song called The Police.
Somebody did do that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Who did that?
2 years ago, before this even happened, you did that.
That's because we foreseen the future. See, a lot of people didn't like the song, but now they understand.
I'm about to go jump in the ride in a minute.
Really? Where are you going to go?
I'm about to go tear up some.
The founder of NWA is publicly supporting one of the police officers accused of violating Rodney King's civil rights. In a Los Angeles Times interview, Eazy-E, whose real name is Eric Wright, says he doesn't think Theodore Briseño is guilty. After seeing the original videotape, the rapper says Briseño was the only officer trying to stop the beating.
Voila! It's your brother John Mack, a.k.a. Mindbender, back in that ass like a thong on a fat bitch, and you know how we do it. Let's get into this Vortex, man.
Breaking story overnight. Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer convicted of murdering George Floyd, attacked in a federal prison, and he was seriously injured. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has more on this story. Good morning, Jacqueline.
Hey, Gio, good morning. George Floyd's death obviously rocked the country in 2020, sparking nationwide protests about police brutality and race relations. And now sources say the man at the center of it all, found guilty of murdering Floyd, is in the hospital. This morning, sources tell ABC News Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer convicted of murdering George Floyd by kneeling on his neck, sparking massive civil rights protests, is now in the hospital with serious injuries after getting stabbed by another inmate.
The court commits you to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 270 months.
47-year-old Chauvin is serving out his 21-year federal sentence for violating Floyd's civil rights and a 22-and-a-half-year state sentence for second-degree murder at this medium-security federal correctional facility in Tucson, Arizona. Back in August, officials moved him there from this maximum-security Minnesota state prison, where he was mainly kept in solitary confinement largely for his own protection. The Bureau of Prisons only revealing an incarcerated individual was assaulted at the Federal Correctional Institution, Tucson, yesterday. In a recent documentary called The Fall of Minneapolis, Chauvin spoke to the media for the first time, calling the trial and sentencing a sham, claiming his use of his knee on Floyd's neck was part of his police training manual.
In fact, I'm looking at it right now. 5-316, maximal restraint technique, right in their written policy manual.
And sources say Chauvin is, as of now, in stable condition and is expected to survive, but we have not heard back from his attorney or the prison.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download.
Some more breaking news. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, who was convicted in George Floyd's murder, was stabbed Friday at an Arizona federal prison. NBC's Liz Kreutz has the very latest on his condition. To you, Liz.
Alex, a law enforcement source tells NBC News that Derek Chauvin was seriously injured after being stabbed at the medium security correctional facility, federal correctional facility, where he is at right now in Tucson, Arizona. He was recently transferred there from a maximum security state prison in Minnesota. Now, the former Minneapolis police officer who was convicted in the murder of George Floyd remains hospitalized right now. His condition is not known. In a statement, the Bureau of Prisons did confirm that an assault happened, although they did not name Chauvin. They said this happened at 12:30 p.m. Friday. The agency said employees performed life-saving measures before transferring the inmate to the hospital. Now, this is the second attack on a high-profile inmate over the last 5 months. In July, the disgraced sports doctor Larry Nassar was stabbed multiple times by another inmate at the federal prison in Florida, where he's at. That prison has a staffing shortage right now. The Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison responded to this attack on Chauvin in a statement saying he was saddened by the attack and that Chauvin should be able to serve his sentence without fear of retaliation or violence. And interestingly, this incident does come after Chauvin recently spoke out for a new documentary. He did a phone interview where he said that the whole trial was a sham. And he said he learned that knee restraint technique. It was a technique that he learned in police training. No word right now from Chauvin's attorney.
We start tonight with breaking news, brand new here at 10 o'clock. The Associated Press says Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer convicted of murdering George Floyd, was stabbed by another inmate earlier today at the Federal Correctional Institution in Tucson. That's on Wilmot, just south of I-10. And that's where we find KGUN 9's Kenny Dar. Kenny, what more can you tell us at this point?
Well, the Bureau of Prisons did release a statement tonight, not directly naming Chauvin in that statement, but the statement did state that the stabbing occurred around 12:30. This afternoon. No employees were hurt during the incident, and those employees that did respond to the incident performed life-saving measures on that stabbed prisoner, again presumed to be Derek Chauvin. Now, he was later taken to a hospital by EMS for further treatment and evaluation. And again, the Bureau of Prisons not directly naming Chauvin as that prisoner who got stabbed, but a source close to the situation telling the Associated Press that it was indeed Derek Chauvin. The FBI was notified, and all visitation to the prison is currently suspended.
Thank you for that, Kenny. FCI Tucson is a medium security prison. Chauvin was sent there last August to simultaneously serve a 21-year federal sentence for violating Floyd's civil rights and a 22.5-year state sentence for second-degree murder. The Minneapolis Police Department Police Chief Brian O'Hara had this to say, quote, "Violence is barbaric and tragic and should never be cause for celebration. Derek Chauvin's conduct on May 25th, 2020 was unequivocally criminal and resulted in death."
Starting with breaking news today, the Associated Press reports former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been stabbed by another inmate. This happened today, just after noon, at the federal prison in Tucson, Arizona. According to the report, prison employees performed, quote, life-saving measures before the inmate, which is presumed to be Chauvin, was taken to a hospital. It is the second major incident to occur there in just a little over a year. Sources say the prison has been plagued by security lapses and staffing shortages. Chauvin is serving a 22-year sentence for the murder of George Floyd.
The U.S. Supreme Court on Monday turned away an appeal by the former Minneapolis police officer convicted of murdering George Floyd, the unarmed black man whose death sparked widespread protests against police brutality.
I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe.
A bystander's camera captured the 2020 arrest of George Floyd by Officer Derek Chauvin. In the video, Chauvin can be seen pushing his knee into Floyd's neck for 9 minutes. Police had been called because Floyd was suspected of using a counterfeit $20 bill. Demonstrators demanding police reforms and accountability marched in cities across the U.S. Chauvin was fired and indicted for the killing.
Find the defendant guilty. His verdict agreed to this 20.
After a 3-week trial, jurors found Chauvin guilty of second and third-degree murder and manslaughter, and he is now serving a 22.5-year prison sentence. His attorneys filed an appeal last year alleging the judge made multiple errors, including refusing to move the trial out of Minneapolis and declining to sequester the jurors. Minnesota's top court rejected the appeal and upheld the conviction, prompting Chauvin to turn to the Supreme Court. Separately, Chauvin in December 2021 pleaded guilty in federal court to charges that he violated Floyd's civil rights. Earlier this month, Chauvin filed a motion seeking to overturn that conviction based on what he claims is new evidence showing that Floyd's death resulted from an underlying medical condition.